Okay, next I'm going to teach you about Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem is a way to find the answer to a missing side of a right triangle. So what I do as part of my class is that we make our own triangles with these little blocks. And I'm going to kind of draw that up here since you might not have seen that. So we've got a triangle. This is not drawn to scale at all. Let's see if I can make it a little closer. That'll be a little closer. So we're going to, and pretend like these are the same size. I'll try to make them close. So we would put boxes like this. You would put 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. And then on the bottom would be 4. And so we would have 3 boxes going this direction, and we wouldn't start with all of them as a square, but we would just have 3 and a 4. And then you would create, I would say, now see how many connect these points. And we're going to pretend like those are actually straight. Okay, so you have what's called a 3, 4, 5 triangle. These 3 blocks, these 4, and then we have 5 along here. If I say square them, a square would be 3 times 3. So you would make 9 here, 16 here, 25 here. If you took these boxes off and these boxes off, you're going to lay them 1 to 1, and you will create these 2 add up to what this is. That's something you can discover with blocks if you don't believe me. This is a perfect triangle. It's one of the few. Now I will tell you on this test, they use 3, 4, 5 triangles a lot. They use 3, 4, 5 triangles because they come out pretty, and we want things to be easy. So if you look and if you are finding the missing side of a right triangle, and remember, a right triangle means that this is 90 degrees. Doesn't work on other triangles. So it says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are the legs. So we would have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. 3 squared is 9. Remember, squared means 3 times 3. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. 9 plus 16 does equal 5 times 5, which is 25. What they will do is they will grow this triangle, and they will have a 6, 8, 10 triangle. They just doubled everything. Or they might have a 12, 16, 20 triangle. They took everything times 4. Those are triangles you might see. So if you can remember, there's only one triangle that comes out pretty, and that's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. They will use that. If they don't give you a triangle that comes out pretty, it's going to have a decimal or a root answer. And sometimes they're not going to give you A and B. They're going to give you C instead. So you might get 9 squared plus b squared equals 15 squared. And you need to know what b is equal to. So if you recognize that this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, you might be able to say, well, that's 12. But if you don't recognize that it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle, you're going to have to do the math. And this is simply an equation that you don't have an answer to. Remember, we draw a line down our equal sign to create our equation. 9 squared means 9 times 9, which is 81. B squared, we don't know. That's our unknown. 15 squared, off to the side, you can take 15 times 15 if you don't know. 25, carry a 2, 5, 6, 7. Oh, like 25, carry a 2. 5, 6, 7. And then 5, and then 1, and you get 225. We subtract 81 to move it over and get rid of it on that side. B squared is equal to 144. And then that's b squared. I need to know what b is. What is the opposite of squared? The opposite of squared is square root. So I need the square root. It looks like a check mark. It's hard to do a check mark upside down. Let's try that. There we go. The square root of 144 is equal to 12. What number times itself is 12? Is 144. So that would be how you solve it. And you would do that, and you will not always be given A and B. Sometimes you'll be given A and C or B and C, and you have to solve for the other. So to solve for a squared number, you square root it. And that's how you do that, and you have that on your calculator. So this is what a Pythagorean theorem is, and this is what it means. And remember, it is a right triangle, and you're missing a side. Very often, the stories are people putting in sidewalks where people walk. They are measuring the distance across a lake, and you can take a lake and you can plot 2 points on this lake and create this. There's our 2 points. That gets us our distance across. They bring out, that's our right angle. They bring it out far enough that they can go across it like this. And that dotted, this across is the distance of our lake. You can measure this, you can measure this, and you could find that. So those are very common. You have a house, and a house, and a house, and people, these are pathways, and everybody cuts across the yard, and they decide they need to put in another sidewalk. Those are very common uses of Pythagorean theorem. And so that is Pythagorean theorem.